course, this wouldn't be a hometown tour without a little hometown history lesson. The city was first started by brothers Frank and Will Slocomb in 1898. The town was incorporated in 1901. Frank started the Slocomb Lumber Company in the late 1800s. Frank also served as the first postmaster. In 1897, the Central of Georgia Railway made Slocomb one of its stops when they expanded their railway from Albany, Georgia to Florala. That led to growth in the community. The first post office was established in 1901. The city's economy, both then and now, dependent on agriculture. Over 2,500 jobs and $200 million is generated through agriculture in Geneva County. Poultry and egg production makes up the top ag commodities in the county, followed by peanuts and cattle. In all, there are just over 1,100 farms in Geneva County. 31% of the county's economic activity comes from ag and forestry.